Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Dark Defender here on Twitter confirmed, a little late, like 9 days, but the target achieved. And you know what else he also confirmed? A $13 XRP. Now, we haven't seen that yet, but what he's referring to down here is his March 19th tweet saying that XRP was going to hit 0.917 or roughly 92 cents. And so this was a tweet from a couple of days ago, and I just wanted to show you guys that he was talking about this back on March 19th, right over here. And if you guys take a look up here, you can see the open, the high, the low, and the close for XRP, and the low was 79.2, and the high was 82.6. He was calling for 91. And sure enough, on the 28th, if I just bring the cursor over there, you can see on this exchange particularly, the high 91.2. So 0.912. And then at that point, we saw the trend retrace back down and around here. Right now, XRP trading at about 86.2. So not far off that target, but that was the target. Take a look at that. Former resistance up here. Hit a second time, and I mean, we're not going bearish. We're just kind of hovering in and around this zone here. So paying close attention to the XRP price. XRP just following Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin has had several bullish days in a row, but you can see now it is cooling down around the $47,300 mark. Let me throw that on the hourly just to show you guys that Bitcoin has seen a nice upward trajectory over the last several days. And now we are seeing it cool down. So we are finding resistance here. Buyers and sellers obviously finding a nice spot to trade Bitcoin at around $47,300. The agreed upon amount where there is enough selling pressure and enough buying pressure to kind of keep buyers and sellers happy at that price point. So that's the story right now. We have seen a great week for Bitcoin, a great week for altcoins. But the question always remains, are we going to get up to that 0.702? Are we going to see the trend continue after this, or are we going to see the bear market commence? Now, the other thing we should be paying attention to is altcoins, and traditionally during this period, what we tend to see is altcoins pop off, and we're still not really seeing that, especially the top 10, top 20 cryptocurrencies. So just to bring this up real quick, market cap at about $2.1 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance still hovering around 42%. So we haven't seen the altcoins really take over. We're seeing altcoins kind of rally in tandem with Bitcoin, and this is a very strong argument as to why I don't actually think we are going to see an altcoin rally at this point. Now, that's not actually a bad thing because, just from, what I've seen, what I've been following here on Twitter, what I've noticed with regards to the indicators, and, I'm seeing this time and time again, is that Bitcoin is not actually at its top, and that this is just an accumulation phase, and that we're going to see one more leg up for Bitcoin. And at that point, that is when we're going to see the altcoins rally. So we'll still have to wait and see. I wanted to bring you guys this because today is the day, guys. G, the Gray Fox here on Twitter. SEC will produce documents to Ripple tomorrow in yet another win for popular blockchain company Ripple. The court has granted its request for extra time to file a response to the SEC's motion to redact certain documents. So that deadline is today. I have the article here. But G, the Gray Fox just kind of summarizes this, and I'm just going to read you this summary. So James K. Filan, who has been vocal about the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, confirmed that the blockchain company received the positive news via a text order only communicated to its lawyers recently. The SEC directed to produce the redacted documents for defendant's assessment by March the 30th, so that is today. And here's the James K. Filan tweet to that effect. Per the directive, the SEC has been mandated to produce the redacted documents for the defendant's assessment by tomorrow. In a motion filed by Ripple last week, the company noted that once it receives copies of the redacted documents, it will analyze and determine whether the SEC needs to conduct any redaction to the documents. With the court mandating the SEC to produce redacted documents for Ripple's analysis, defendant's response is expected to be filed on or before April the 4th, so just a few days away. That would be next week. The lawsuit, which has lasted for more than a year, appears to be gearing up for its end, as indicated by Ripple in a recent court filing. Last week, the SEC took advantage of the January 13th, 2022 deliberative process privilege ruling to file a motion requesting permission to redact certain portions of selected meeting notes between the agency and third parties. The SEC cites concerns that the portions it wants to redact highlight the author's personal opinion instead of public guidance. So that's where we're at, guys. Waiting today for those documents and any kind of update that we get today, March the 30th. I'm interested to see what happens. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Also saw this from Michael at Val5 Links. Now, this has to do with the Cardano founder, Charles Hoskinson, and he is proposing a Bill of Rights to promote true decentralization. ADA, the Cardano token, one of those WEF coins that I've been keeping an eye on as of late. I've been making it a point now since June of 2021 to keep an eye on the WEF coins. If these are the coins that solve problems, if these are the coins that the WEF, the World Economic Forum, approve, I think they are worth noting. And so this with regards to the founder, the creator of ADA, he's urged the cryptocurrency community to establish a Bill of Rights for the industry, which will illustrate the concept of true decentralization. Speaking during Binance Blockchain Week hosted in Dubai, Hoskinson noted that the cryptocurrency industry is currently at a crossroads on its path to true decentralization, adding that the nascent sector is at a critical point requiring navigation from the crypto community. And here's what he said: as we see the third generation of cryptocurrencies become more powerful, more prevalent, more pervasive, we have to start making some uncomfortable and difficult philosophical decisions about how our technology works. According to the Cardano boss, when people move beyond the world's largest cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, to other digital currencies, which is what we are seeing now, right? New blockchains are emerging, new projects are emerging, and these big banks, businesses, they're not using Bitcoin, they are using these other technologies, and they've got to make a decision. They've got to choose what they want to use. They start entertaining the idea that not everyone would have a copy of the blockchain. Hoskinson noted that for the cryptocurrency industry to be truly decentralized, its players need to collectively figure out core meaning of decentralization, adding, we have to write some sort of constitution for these things. We have to decide what is the Bill of Rights for the use of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So he is saying, we need this kind of organization to give us direction, to give us a clear set of rules, and there should be something like a Bill of Rights that is collectively agreed upon that we can all adhere to. He finishes off by saying we must decide as an industry whether we want to learn from the past, if we wish to just allow it to happen again. Hoskinson noted that the industry has two choices to choose from, which includes maintaining the integrity of focusing on decentralization or ignoring everything and sticking to a highly centralized system. And so he referenced the internet in the early 90s as one of those examples. Thought that was interesting. Want to move forward because the Flare networks, guys, if you're still waiting for FLR tokens, there is now an update with regards to the Flare networks and progress on their blockchain. This coming from Michael at Val5Links. Flare networks, the coming layer 1 that is built to safely connect to all blockchains, has announced the launch of its state connector on its Canary network Songbird. The new core Web3 protocol makes it possible for the state of any on or off-chain open system to be proven on Songbird for use in smart contracts and for safe relay to any other blockchain. Flare's protocol is faster and more secure than existing solutions such as light client relays and oracles. Whereas alternatives reduce decentralization, the state connector maintains the security of a full node, increasing the decentralization of blockchain technology. So I'm just going to go down here, and I will link this in the description if you guys want to read further. Existing cross-chain solutions to this problem aren't satisfactory. The most common solutions are centralized multi-sig bridges that lead to higher centralization and greater susceptibility to attack. So another argument here for decentralization, of course, in addition to increased regulatory risk and censorship, the alternative solution, like client relays, suffer from complex on-chain implementation, slow operation, and only approximation of a full node security, making them more vulnerable to an attack. They're also incompatible with certain types of networks and pre-compiled contracts, meaning they do not create true universal interoperability. So they are also focusing on the interoperable aspect of this. Lots to read here with regards to the state of the Flare networks and how they are still testing out on their Canary network, Songbird. Finally, a quote here from Hugo Fillion. The launch of the state connector on Flare's Canary network, Songbird, is a huge leap forward for Flare as we accelerate towards the launch of our main network. It's also a huge leap for the blockchain space in general, with a state connector providing a long-needed and compelling solution for secure, trustless cross-chain interoperability with any chain. The most exciting part is seeing what developers will build, taking advantage of the combined power of the Flare time series oracle and the state connector to access the value, information, and liquidity on multiple chains via a single deployment on Flare. And I know, guys, we have been waiting a long time. I know some of you guys were very, very upset that we did not get our Flare tokens when we were told we were going to get them. And so I got to hand it to the Flare network. Those developers have been working tirelessly to make this perfect. I mean, you can't just rush out this kind of development. I mean, I'm no techie. I do not pretend to be a techie, but I can imagine that it is not easy. And the guys over there at Flare, sounds like they are working very, very hard to get this right and to develop something that is going to be really, really great. Anyway, great update there. Wanted to thank Michael for posting that. And this from the Wrath of Kahneman, guys, this has to do with Polysign. So this report for Polysign by Brown Brothers Harriman doesn't say XRP, but it sure does look like the XRPL. So this is apparently something that was retweeted out by Standard Custody, also a Ripple partner, and we know Polysign was created by David Schwartz, so coming together to make a vision a reality. This directly from the report, atomic cross-border settlements of different assets across multiple public and private ledgers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Near instant transaction processing time scales, real-time transparency into price discovery and asset valuation where global standards exist across jurisdictions. An authoritative blockchain that does not require a central operator, allows for digital identification and digital signing. Technical and operational interoperability with legacy institutional assets serving platforms. Interesting. Also integrates with legacy systems, network protocols that instill trust among transacting counterparties, that is capable of accounting for more than one set of local laws and regulations. So there is no word that this is running on the XRPL, but it sure does look like it. And so Wrath of Kahneman also just retweeting out this article with regards to Ripple, discussing RippleNet for a tokenized future from back last year. I will link this tweet thread in the description. It does sound like more developments are occurring. Polysign, a really, really exciting solution for that institutional grade adoption. And, just going to add to the flywheel effect, essentially giving XRP more value down the road. Of course, it is interoperable, so it's not to say that the XRPL is exclusive to this project. However, it is looking good. I mean, it was created by David Schwartz. And I also just wanted to touch on this report here, guys. Linda P. Jones retweeted this out. A report talked about Ripple as soon to be $1 trillion payment company. Now, you know who said that? Linda Jones is assuming it was Accenture, who was one of the original funders of Ripple. We're not too sure who wrote the report, but I suspect it might be Accenture, a respected accounting firm. And so I saw this report when it originally came out. This is the report here, guys. I found it online directly from the federalreserve.gov website, open letter to FinCEN's proposed amendments from the BSA. Now, this was originally from a couple of years ago, October of 2020, and at the core of FinCEN's proposal, having gathered opinions from the FBI, DEA, IRS, USSS, and others, is lowering the threshold for the travel rule and record-keeping rule to a $250 threshold, while simultaneously classifying some cryptocurrencies as convertible virtual currency with legal tender status. And if you guys remember, if you were in the space back in 2015, this was before my time even, but I do remember FinCEN did come down with a ruling XRP was considered a currency, or at least that is what they classified it as at that time. Let me just go through this for you guys. Some more information here with regards to FinCEN. Leaked FinCEN file exposes poor data security. Okay, that was back from 2020 as well. So taking a look at FinCEN, a lot of this has to do with that. And so, actually, where was it here? I think it was just down here. Where was the quote? The quote was right here, okay? So this article referencing a tweet from CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and of course, Ripple is the fintech company at the center of an evolving global financial system with a CVC bridge asset XRP. I'm sure FinCEN will recall the enforcement action it took against Ripple Labs in May 2015, as I had mentioned. The fine for them was $450,000 at that time over this very issue. Ever since, Ripple has been working with, begging and pleading regulators to provide regulatory clarity for their industry. I guess I should also mention that this report, although it was in 2020, it was in October 2020 before the SEC proposed a lawsuit against Ripple and XRP. Let's just go back down here to that tweet. Okay, so of course it's been well documented that Ripple has been working very, very hard with the industry. Yet we are almost 5 years later, and as a government entity, you continue to provide conflicting positions as pointed out by the CEO of Ripple on October 8th. And so here was the Brad Garlinghouse tweet. A 70-plus page contradictory report is not regulatory clarity. Many responsible private players are trying to follow the rules, but that becomes increasingly hard when there's no single arbiter of the law. 5+ government agencies with different POVs on crypto. We need to talk a framework that provides clarity, protects customers, and fosters innovation in the United States, or companies will move their investment to other companies overseas. And that tweet was from October the 8th, 2020, of course, a few months before the SEC sued Ripple. They've been trying to work with regulators for years now, and the lack of clarity is causing stagnation in the evolution of our financial system at the cost of US dominance. And Ripple, soon to be a $1 trillion payments company, is at the center of this change and making plans to leave. Now, if you guys remember, at that time, since Ripple didn't get the clarity, they were saying, well, I mean, I guess we could leave the country. We could go to somewhere where there is clarity, like the UK, like Japan, like Singapore. I believe they even use those examples. But the point that Linda P. Jones mentions here, Ripple, soon to be a $1 trillion company. And the quote is right in here. This statement made as a presumption that Ripple is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, poised to really kind of be integrated in a meaningful way for the entire financial system. And this, again, a report that is just going over some of this stuff with regards to FinCEN directly from the Federal Reserve's website, federalreserve.gov. Now, we know, I believe it was by this point, the Federal Reserve had already announced their FedWire solution that was going to be running on Valente's VolPay, which is Ripple-enabled. So there was that connection as well, meaning that essentially the Federal Reserve is no stranger to RippleNet and RippleNet technology. And guys, I also just wanted to mention this here. Ripple aims to serve multi-trillion-dollar market using XRP. And this article is just back from December. But I wanted to bring this up because I thought this was interesting. Ripple is notably addressing a multi-trillion-dollar payments market via its XRP digital asset. This article is also saying multi-trillion-dollar payments, insinuating that this is the market that Ripple is going to target. These are the thoughts postulated by the firm's head of global institutional markets. Brienne Madigan thinks that XRP's utility in the market provides it with a driver for value creation. Now, this was an older tweet tweeted out by Bull Dieppe here on Twitter. XRP is solving a real problem. We are in a super early stage. While it's promising to see huge institutional investors and large Fortune 500 companies putting their treasury into crypto. This is Brienne Madigan from about a year before that, December 3rd, 2020. Listen to this.
In general, my recommendation is always a barbell strategy. So for people who are newer coming in, take a look at a few individual crypto assets, understand their utility, their core value proposition. What problem are they solving? Look at the total addressable market there. For example, in payments, because of trapped capital, there's trillions and trillions of dollars of market opportunity that XRP as a digital asset is solving for. And so that's a huge addressable market. So there you would see a driver for value creation. Bitcoin, look at, what market cap of gold, look at the market cap of Bitcoin. There's still tons of room, right? But will there be volatility between here and when, we see a top for Bitcoin? Absolutely. And so my general view is we're still in super early stages of this market. While it's very promising to see huge institutional investors and large Fortune 500 companies coming in and putting their treasury cash into Bitcoin, and other crypto assets, this is all promising, but there will be short-term volatility in individual coins. And so I would say a barbell strategy is for those who can be patient, which many investors want and look to long-term value creation, put a portion of your allocation in equity, taking stakes in some of the most promising companies in the space, and look at your 7 and 10-year returns if you can invest in that type of timeline horizon. And then take the other portion of your allocation and pick 3, 5, whatever is the right number, but diversify and pick a few crypto assets that you really see a story behind, that you understand the value proposition, you understand the problem they're solving, because ultimately, as you figure out that addressable market, you can back into reasonable valuation. And as I said in my example earlier, taking just a 3% exposure to the asset class should result in at least a 15% outperformance versus a traditionally managed portfolio, non-crypto.
So in this context here, Brienne Madigan is talking about diversifying your investment portfolio with regards to cryptocurrencies and perhaps choosing the cryptocurrencies that, as we've been saying for years now, solve a problem, pick the right ones. But you also notice she talks about XRP at the top of this clip, really kind of insinuating there is going to be a lot of opportunity for the cryptocurrencies that do solve problems. We are super early, which is another thing she mentioned here. Again, this clip from back in December of 2020. And even this was before the Ripple lawsuit was announced. Because the Ripple lawsuit was announced at the end of December of that year. But I think this goes without saying, there is a multi-trillion-dollar market out there that Ripple is gunning to target. And it's no surprise to me that, on the Federal Reserve's website, considering the FedWire VolPay connection connected to Ripple and XRP, that they would post a document that actually states Ripple is soon to be a $1 trillion payments company. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.